are excited to have you here. This is a very unique learning experience, and it's something that our students lead.
I am the Leadership Challenge Event Fellow this year, which is basically the student that coordinates everything from content to volunteers to the whole event. I'm just really excited to see the impact that it has on the students that participate in it.
Part of developing homegrown talent is making sure that our young people and our high school students are thinking about Topeka as an option for staying here in their professional lives. And to be able to bring them to our campus and show them and walk them through a scenario that they could experience right here in Topeka and show the resources that we have to support them in their professional life is part of the most important thing that we accomplish. This is an experience that is created so that you come in one way, and when you leave, you know things about yourself you didn't know before you came to this event.
Over the years, we have received feedback that today is a little bit like drinking out of a fire hose. We give you a lot of information over a very
The big difference between this year and last year is that last year, and historically, the Leadership Challenge event simulation has been viewed from one perspective. And this year, the challenge event is viewed from two perspectives. So the high school students view it from one lens, and the college students view it from another lens, which is really cool because you get to see this one scenario from two kind of almost competing perspectives. Once the simulation overview is complete, students attend various breakout sessions, including a presentation on dilemma paradigms by James Barraclough.
There's so many things in life where people have a different definition or different way of understanding. So the term ethics is thrown out. That may mean something different to somebody else. You may have a different kind of decision-making paradigm than somebody else. But it doesn't make yours right and theirs wrong. It just makes it different. In some respects, that also makes it a little bit tricky.
Another session, specifically for college-age participants, included a panel of academic vice presidents who discussed their decision-making and leadership experiences.
As you go into whatever your challenge is tomorrow, really be thinking about it through multiple lenses.
Almost every decision we make affects many areas. So it's very seldom that any of us get to make a decision that only affects our team.
There are always a series of facts and factors and things in play, and I agree with Julie, when the decision is made, it's going to affect a number of constituents, and there's always a chance that somebody isn't going to be happy.
You do get tested. You get to find out if your values really are your values, meaning when the times get tough and you have to make some hard decisions, do you live up to your values?
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to shift to you right.
At the first night banquet, the fictional Central Kansas University was presented as if it were a real-life institution to immerse students in the leadership scenario. After the keynote speech on diversity in the workplace, one of CKU's officials was suddenly called from the podium to address a crisis.
Okay, I apologize. There is a matter that has come up that requires my attention, so I apologize.
At the same time, a text message was sent to student participants informing them that a college student has been hazed, as if it really happened in real time. The next morning, a fictional news clip is played that further sets the stage for the problem the students have to solve that day.
Hello and good morning, Metropolis. We are reporting on an event from Central Kansas University. As reported yesterday, a male first-year student was found in Wallace Residence Hall severely inebriated, his wrists and ankles bound with duct tape, and vulgar phrases written on his skin with marker.
Teams begin working together on various tasks presented to address the issue at hand, then break for seminars presented by community volunteers to get more background into the topics discussed that day.
There's lots of things you can do as a positive pro-social bystander.
It's the responsibility of the institution for the hazing incident occurring in the first place.
That is brilliant! That is like most important. You always follow up.
Focus on what you know and what you don't know. And sometimes we have a tendency to try to solve all the world's problems within one case.
1 person out of 10 knows they're being hazed. So I think as an institution we can try to recognize what hazing is.
They understood that this violence was occurring in incidents like this one had happened, but then they refused to report it, which means that they were complacent and allowed it to continue to happen.
We need to do like a zero tolerance, and then anything that's like considered initiation needs to be more of like a traditional standpoint.
I think students, especially ones who haven't been in it before, come into it thinking one thing's going to happen, and then they learn so much about themselves because it's a pretty real world event without the risks. So they get to try new things and see how things might work out.
Robert Malone on there is at 8:45.
Having to meet and work with other people and having those that might question what it is they're doing, or having, especially the volunteers, I think that part's amazing. They ask questions and they, make them think about things in a different way, especially when it comes to their plans or the ways they consider things or their perspective on different events.
You learn how to work with teams in a whole nother way than like just a regular team project, because you're right there with them, like in the trenches. You're dealing with information as it comes in. I love it because I feel like that's how it would be in the workplace. A textbook can only do so much. You learn the definitions, you learn terms. You have the knowledge, but you won't have any application for it. And this gives you all the application. You may not have the terminology, but you'll know exactly what to do and how to do it.
I hope you all got a good night's rest and are ready to...
I think my favorite part is watching the fellow go from step one, not having an idea of anything that she wanted to do, and then she has gained this content and created this whole, really a masterpiece at the end of the day. I go back to my high school days myself, thinking about just leadership and the importance of it, and I think it's really cool to watch high school students already taking that initiative for some things that some college students don't even do now. It's been really meaningful and really transformational for everyone.
I think just being able to interact with and engage with the different people that are soon going to be the leaders of Topeka and of Kansas, and you get to meet them one-on-one and face the people that are going to make a difference in the world.
Judges are observing the students' work at all times and scoring their achievements or challenges during the process.
This year I am a Type 1 judge, which means I get to hang out with the teams and watch them do their troubleshooting for their scenario all day. So I'm pretty excited about this. For me, it's almost the same kind of experience that the students are getting. I'm seeing it from a different perspective. In my job on a day-to-day, I'm kind of limited on my view, of course, and I think everybody else is too, but to come in and look at a problem from another perspective, or watch somebody else, you kind of fly on the wall and say, well, I never thought about it that way. And with these students, they're thinking differently than the actual person in the real world in that same role is thinking. So you're almost getting two perspectives, maybe even 3 or 4 by doing this. I think it makes us better communicators. It makes us better empathizers when we're doing our real jobs.
This is our second year participating here at Washburn University. Our students had a wonderful time last year. We didn't know what to expect. It was all new to us, and they came away feeling like they had learned a lot about their own leadership styles under pressure, and they had a wonderful time. So this year, on their initiative, we're bringing 2 teams.
It's real world experience, and you just can't replicate that in the classroom. So I love bringing teams here. They come in very nervous, they leave different people, but at the end, most of them are very, very happy to have been a part of this experience.
Until you get here and see what happens, like, oh, it's a leadership event, people think it's just a workshop, but it's not. And I think that's the thing, having the sponsors who are willing to invest in our students who are gonna be Topeka's next leaders, the people that will change our community to make it better, to bring about real change. And I think when you're investing in this program, you're investing in leadership in Topeka in the future, because they are the students that are already getting some of that experiential learning, that are learning how to problem solve and could come up with some real solutions because they've had to do it and experience here. So I think that sponsorship is sponsoring our community, not just Washburn's Leadership Institute.
So this is actually my 3rd year competing here at the Washburn Leadership Challenge event. It's one of my favorite events through the years, and the important part is every year that I come here, I feel like I've grown as a leader and as a person, and that's what the event is really about at the end of the day.
So the simulation really throws us into a real world environment and kind of gives us an idea of what things are going to be like outside of high school. So teachers always tell us be ready to do group work, and then we don't actually believe them, but then we get thrown into a situation like this and realize it's very serious. So we definitely learned a lot how to handle those situations and how to be effective leaders in the community.
This was actually my 3rd year, and I felt like the 2 years before were definitely real world situations, but I felt like this one was definitely the most applicable that I felt I would be able to do even now.
I like how they tied in like the speakers and even the presentations that we saw on the orientation day to like what was going to be applicable to the simulation. It gave me like a kind of a sense of like what I was supposed to be doing and things that I could be thinking about like ethically and stuff. So.
I learned 2 days ago that I was even coming here, and so I didn't even know what it was, and then when I got here I was like, okay, I'm a little nervous for this, but I found that it was very beneficial. I think we all learned a lot, and because it was such an applicable scenario, I think it was beneficial to us as college students.
I'm actually an RA at K-State, so this kind of opened my eyes to hazing and see how I can implement programs to help my residents.
A competition in leadership is something quite unique, and this gives them a chance to reflect on what they're learning, but also to practice it and to really have fun in the meantime.
I can only imagine how many people it takes to do this and how much time they put into it, and it's really cool to see them engaged in it because it makes me want to be more engaged in it as well.